solidarity message, and if we could all pay attention to what he's going to say or read out for us as part of their message of solidarity. Brother Kwameh, could I ask you to introduce yourself first before you proceed?
Yes, I am Kwameh Osai Tahaka, which is the name I have adopted. I'm from the Caribbean originally, and I'm a member of the British chapter of the All African People's Revolutionary Party. You see ZANU-PF on the chairman Mugabe, I'm realizing those things. You've got the land, never let it go. Never let that land go. Do not sell it, keep it for your children and your children's children. That's what our ancestors wanted. That's where they fought, that's where they died. I'm very glad and very happy that you invited the All African People's Revolutionary Party to your celebration and to permit me to give this message of solidarity to Zimbabwe, the people of Zimbabwe, ZANU-PF, and Chairman Robert Mugabe. If I may, I'd like to start off this message with a prayer. Now it is an unusual prayer because this prayer was actually said in 1791 by an African by the name of Kwameh. Now that's a very, very important name in the history of the African people in the diaspora in the Americas. Now, this happened one night when they were camping in the woods in Haiti. Some African brothers and sisters gathered around and lit our fire. And they sacrificed a pig in the name of the West African god Ogun, which, as you know, is the god of fire. Now, this was a very significant time for the people of Haiti, as we now know. And the brother, Kwameh, started off prayer by saying, the God who created the earth, who created the sun that gives us light, the God who holds up the ocean, who makes the thunder roar, our God has ears to hear. You who are hidden in the clouds, who watch us from where you are, you see all that the white has made us suffer. The white man's God asked him to commit crimes, but the God within us wants to do good. Our God, who is so good, so just, he orders us to revenge our wrongs. It's he who will direct our arms and bring us the victory. It's he who will assist us. We all should throw away the image of the white man's God, who is so pitiless. Listen to the voice for liberty that speaks in all our hearts. And from that prayer, the Haitian Revolution was launched. Now, we know that these were spoken by Africans on the island of Haiti in 1791. They were enslaved, as we know, and they had to liberate themselves from tyranny of the French, the British, and held under the European yoke. Now why is this significant? The Haitian struggle set the example for African liberation. Anywhere in the world, throughout the Western Hemisphere, and in Africa itself. Now this happened in 1791. So we could see straight away Africans had started the liberation struggle at the same time. It teaches us a lesson today, and that lesson is, no matter how much we are outnumbered, no matter how much we are outgunned, as long as we are united as a people, we will overcome and always succeed. The Africans in Haiti faced the might of Europe in 1791. But can you see, it's not unlike what Zimbabwe is facing today in the 21st century. Like Zimbabwe, she was sanctioned by the Europeans. The Africans in Haiti could not get any supplies. They had to work on to liberate themselves with whatever implements they had. So we can see, isn't this the same thing that's happening in Zimbabwe? Zimbabwe freed herself, liberated herself, all that blood was shed. But the external forces sanctioned her. She was not supposed to rise up. As long as Africans were in power at the helm in Haiti, no other nation. Now Haiti ejected the British, the French world powers at that time. But as long as there was an African in charge, they didn't venture back into that island, even to today. ZANU-PF, Chairman Mugabe, and the Zimbabwean people who fought that struggle of liberation, they epitomized the spirit, the African spirit that is in us, which came out in Haiti. So many years, but that spirit of liberation culminated in getting rid of that regime in Zimbabwe. Western powers, and those powers are our enemies, they will not give up. They will always want us back where we were, dominated, our land taken away from us, our people abused. So, Zimbabwe today is a beacon in that land of Africa. Don't ever forget that. Like Haiti in the Caribbean, the first black republic in the world, Zimbabwe epitomized that power and that resilience. She has a problem navigating the political seas that is turbulent and against her. But she will overcome. Because the spirit, that African spirit of liberation runs deep through the soil and the blood that was shed in Zimbabwe. Western hegemony will never conquer Zimbabwe. And it's significant because Zimbabwe is very central to Africa. What happens in Zimbabwe will have vast influence and effect on the rest of Africa. It's central. Things happen from the central and radiate outwards. So we must support Mugabe and ZANU-PF in that effort to maintain who they are. The question of land was core to the African struggle for Africa. But some countries in Africa today haven't resolved the land question. Zimbabwe, again, leading Africans in how to liberate their land. Without land, there's no liberation.
Oh, of course.
Indigenization, giving the black man, the indigenous people of Zimbabwe, power. That's what the world is all about. The liberal democracy, normally they talk about freedom and so on. You cannot have freedom without the land and the people of the land having the power to use the resources of that land. These two acts recovering our land, and indigenization. Have we realized Zimbabwe is now free and independent? But how free is Zimbabwe? Again, we refer back to Haiti today, and we see a broken country with a proud African people. But how did she become so poor and dilapidated? And the world looking at her with pity. How did she come in? So bad governance, corruption contributed to her demise. But most importantly, it was her audacity in fighting to break free from her oppressors that has contributed most to her present state. What's anything? Why should you be allowed to go free? How dare you fight and defeat our people? How dare you? You must suffer. A warning, indeed. The oppressor does not give up. He does not accept defeat and attempts by any means to return those who have rebelled back into their places.
That's right.
The Zimbabwe revolution is not complete, but it has a chance to make a difference to indigenous Africans in Zimbabwe. Unity of the people, unity of purpose, and ideological unity is what we need. Kwameh Aka Stokely Carmichael once said that there were only two economic systems that we know of. One is capitalism and the other is socialism. One is natural to the African and the other damaging. Capitalism is the main obstruction of the African Revolution and a counter-revolutionary factor that is plaguing Africa. Capitalism is individualistic, open to market forces and controlled by external forces. It is foolhardy to rely on market forces when you don't have any input or influences on those market forces. The price of Zimbabwean diamonds, for instance, is not set by Zimbabweans who dig them out of the ground. The added value of Zimbabwean diamonds are set by Europe and Israel. How can we make progress when the market for diamonds are controlled by people who does not have the raw material? Not just Zimbabwe, but throughout the whole of Africa. External forces under capitalism set and determines the price. We are controlled. My fellow Africans, we have to find another way other than capitalism to drive our economies. Is socialism an alternative? We have to decide. Another major contributor to realizing African development is representative democracy. Why do I say this? Representative democracy is divisive in its nature. It only looks out for its adherences with an elite who does not represent or care for the people. Its tenure in office is short, and when the incumbents are voted out of the intelligence of the country, putting all the resources together, pull the country up. What we get is we get bipartisan activities. And we give the example of China. China is in a similar position as the African nations are. The one-party state, we might not like it, but is it an option? If Zimbabwe is to overcome her difficulties, she must explore the possibilities of finding an African solution
to bring equality and prosperity to the indigenous Africans in Zimbabwe. The concept, we have a concept as Africans called Sankofa. Sankofa, mainly from West Africa, the Akan language, often seen as a bird looking over its shoulder, looking backwards. Basically telling us that we must look to the past, not live in the past, look to the past to see where we need to go for the future. Haiti is an example. That's an example for us all to see the situation she was in 1804, which gained her independence from the European powers, and the way that those same European powers have kept her in poverty for all those years. So that's the lesson that we as Africans need to take on board. We as Africans, no matter what anybody said, we aren't historically individuals. We are a collective, a communal type of people. We don't work for ourselves. This is how we work best as a community. The West has taught us to live as individuals, amassing material items to the behest of others. That is not the African way, from my understanding and from my research. ZANU-PF has a mandate, and so should take the opportunity to find a way to create liberty, equality, and fraternity, taking those words taken from the French Revolution. But one aspect of those three words, three terms that we use, is the last one, fraternity. Fraternity, brotherhood, secret society, if you want to call that. But we're saying African fraternity, be it in Zimbabwe, we have to connect with the Africans in Tanzania, Zambia, Ghana, the Caribbean, the Americas. That's our strength. The fraternity of African brothers is our strength. And I'm telling you, once we get that together, there is no force on this earth can reckon with us. As a people, they cannot reckon with us. The reason why the African slaves were freed, contrary to what we believe, is because the African forces in the Caribbean and Americas fought like hell to get their freedom. We tend to get it from the Wilberforce theory. No, it was the pressure that we exerted. Can you imagine our forces in Africa, our soldiers in Africa, and none can conquer us when we are together and left. None on the face of this earth. The All African People Revolutionary Party would like to work with ZANU-PF and all African parties to realize the dream of Kwameh Nkrumah, Sekou Touré, and even Robert Mugabe, who is from that school. We promote socialism, scientific socialism. And the star in the Zimbabwean flag is that aspect of socialism. This dream, once the vision of Robert Mugabe and ZANU, is an African dream. Socialism, communalism, is all part of the same tool. It is the answer for Africa's problems, especially in a world where capitalism has failed. And in conclusion, I'd like to say that one of the chief architects of the Haitian Revolution, a brother called Jean-Jacques Dessalines, he said, "We have dared to be free. Let us dare to be so ourselves and for ourselves." So, we salute at the All African People's Revolution Party, salute the Zimbabwean people, ZANU-PF, Chairman Robert Mugabe, for their leadership, perseverance, steadfastness under the bullying schemes of our enemies. I thank you.